Hi, my name is Korame, and today I'm talking to you guys through how I played Preservation Evoker on Mythic Magmorax. So this fight is pretty fun. There is a lot of healing to do, and I'm mostly going to be talking to you guys through how to just do like a bunch of constant HPS. Normally, it's a bit more like lined up and lined out about like healing cities and stuff like that. The main damage events that you are looking out for are when the molten spills are going out, which means that you need to soak up all of the pools. And then once you get in the pool, you get more stacks. At 40 stacks, you automatically die. And the more stacks you have, the more damage you're taking throughout the fight. So the longer the fight goes on, you're taking quite a bit more damage. And then towards the end, there is a pretty decent hardened rage on this boss where you do need a lot of damage to go out. So even just having a pull where like 1 DPS is dead is probably going to be a wipe for the most part. So really important that your healers are playing super well. Okay, before I get into the video though, I do want to talk to you guys about talents. So I did just run your standard run-of-the-mill, or I should say standard now with our new 2-set and 4-set Echo Spirit Bloom build. So I'm taking TA with Echoes, 20-second Spirit Bloom. I'm also taking 1 point Exhilarating Burst because you're getting really good value out of that when you're casting your power spells on CD. Out of your 4-set, you get a lot of Essence Burst. So then you get good value out of Exhilarating Burst. And then I am taking Ouroboros because I'm also hard casting Echoes quite a bit. I think Ouroboros is good. Spark of Insight is also good just for getting extra like echoes out there. It's just really up to you. I'll show you guys my healing breakdown and you can be the judge of that yourself. Lifebind, I took 3 minutes. Rewind, so you don't get an extra rewind by taking this. Most of the time I don't like to take this if I'm not getting an extra rewind. I would rather put 1 point into Energy Loop. However, this made timings better and there's so much healing in this fight, and this fight is so fast. It's like a 6-minute kill or something that I wasn't really having mana problems. I would have liked to do a bit more DPS than I was able to do though, so you know, yeah, this ended up being better for timings for me to have 3-minute rewind. And Stasis and Dreamflight. Also, if you played Magmorax before, you probably noticed this is a really stacked fight. It would actually be a very good Emerald Blossom fight. So I just want to state this before someone puts this in the comment sections. You can't play Emerald Blossom on Magmorax because Cycle of Life is currently bugged. If it was not bugged, I definitely would have been trying to play like an Emerald Blossom build and been trying to like do basically this. If you're curious at all. This is what I would have liked to run, because it lets you do like spend like most renewables DPSing, which would have helped with our DPS check and still do really good healing and it's really efficient. However, I couldn't do that because Cycle of Life is bugged. Yeah, other than that, then your standard talents, I was running, of course, Rescue for the knockbacks. Most of the time I am rescuing our Holy Priest. Twin Guardian is also really good whenever you are rescuing that often. I would have rather I played Ancient Flame for when I was casting Living Flame. This is just something that I always forget to go ahead and switch. I don't know why, but I always forget to do that. Yeah. Other than that, that's all I have to say about the talents. I'm going to get into it. Oh yeah, before I do though, I do want to show you the healing breakdown. So like I said, mostly echoing Spirit Bloom. So Spirit Bloom is my top healing. And then also I'm echoing Dream Breath sometimes. It just depends on how things are lining up. I get a couple of really good rewinds, TA healing, whatever. I get 2 Dream Flights. You should be able to get 3. But I messed up. I'll explain it in the video, and I only got 2. And then Emerald Blossom from playing Ouroboros for 8 casts. It did 2.6 million healing. I think that's pretty good, you know? So for me, that's pretty worth. But it could be up to you. I think I could see the argument for either one of these talents, honestly. Now, onto the video. Okay, so for starting out, I always pre-stasis and TA before the pull, and then I do it early stasis, and that means I get an extra stasis at the end. You could look at this 2 ways. You could look at getting 1 less stasis but getting really good stasises, or you could look at getting as many as you want. So since there is constant damage on this fight, I would rather get an extra one because every single one of my stasises is good. Yeah. I start off by just doing a Fire Breath, and then I go in with a TA. And then I'm just going to be DPSing. This roar is going to go out and there's going to be soaks. So these soaks are usually assigned to a group of like 5 or 6 people, even though there's only 4 soaks. That way someone's getting one each time because you can't soak back to back, and there's usually 3 groups. I wasn't actually assigned, so I'm just acting as a backup. So I'm always watching, but only going to stand in at the last second because you ideally don't want 2 people ever standing in one because it's just extra damage. So the first Molten Spittles are going out. So these Molten Spittle targets, you can see them highlighted right here. I can full screen this. You want to make sure that if you can, that you're priority healing them. So one of the most frustrating parts about this build and Evoker in general in this raid for me is so often you find yourself sitting on your hands. You have all of your echoes out, you're getting ready for the damage to come out. And you want, like, I'm going to, like, wait until there's only, like, a few seconds left of this detonate. I'm going to start casting my Spirit Bloom, and I want it to detonate when the damage goes off. And that's really frustrating to keep having to play that way, because when there's a priority target that needs healing before the big damage event goes off, and you have all these echoes set up as, like, your ramp, and having to, like, early detonate them just to, like, save someone is not really ideal. It's kind of a sucky playstyle in my opinion, and I don't like it. I also would have really liked if I could play the Emerald Blossom build, because I wouldn't have had this problem where I have echoes out, which means I just can't heal. Like, so not my favorite. Probably like the most frustrating part about playing Evoker to me is things like this, where I just find myself sitting on my hands. So right here, you're probably thinking, okay, this guy's full health, he's fine. I'm talking about later in the fight. You're gonna see these Molten Spittle targets. They take a lot of damage, and it's not until the debuff goes away on them, they drop the puddles, that the damage goes out on the rest of the raid. And so that's kind of like the problem with this spec. So you really have to be relying on your other healers to be doing the priority healing on those targets, because obviously they don't have something like Holy Priest, Resto Shaman, and Holy Paladin don't have something like this, where they just have to sit on their hands and wait to heal the way that I'm having to. So here, you see I Spirit Bloom that. I'll just put out a Dream Breath, it's not really necessary. And then I'm just going to be DPSing. So I have my 3 TA stasis set up, and so I'm going to be using this on the knockback for an Emerald Communion. So for the first knockback, and then the next knockback when my Emerald Communion comes up, on both of those I tell my priest I'm not going to be rescuing you. So he has Gob Jump, and he has the Trinket from the first boss, Kazara, which negates the knockback. So he has 2 different sources on 3-minute CVs, which makes him like fine for being able to just like handle it on his own if I can't rescue him on like 1 or 2 during the entire fight. So I just saw him beforehand, before this knockback goes out. And then I told you that things went wrong this bowl, and this is where you get to see the first thing go wrong. So I start my Emerald Communion, and it just interrupts it and knocks me in the air. Really cool bug. This happened to me about 1 in 5 times. So what I found is, for the most part, if I just started my Emerald Communion like a second earlier than I wanted to, then this would never happen to me. It was whenever I got like a second too greedy, basically, is when this would happen to me. So that's my thing for you. If you want to Emerald Communion the knockback, you need to be fully in your Emerald Communion like a full second, maybe half a second before the knockback goes out. Because if you do what I just did there, you just lost your entire Emerald Communion, and I lost an entire stasis basically. So you know, life sucks. So I was really tilted at this point, because this is like probably like the 5th time this had happened to me. So I get the soak here. This one is supposed to be my dream flight. I get distracted because I'm in the soak, and I'm also tilted, and so then I forget to dream flight here, and so I'm gonna end up losing a dream flight. So then I double whammied myself on this pull. It's just how it always goes. Your worst pull is always the pull that you're going to kill it, without a doubt. Alright, so right now I'm just putting out echoes and getting ready for the next Molten Spittle. So it's going out now, so I have all my echoes already set up. I'm just going to Spirit Bloom this. And then I Dream Flight this one, even though I'm normally not supposed to. So now I'm going to be getting ready to prep my next stasis. So that's why I'm holding on to that TA right now. Even though it's up, it's because I want to wait for my stasis to go up, because I wanted stasis into a Dream Breath. And that Dream Breath is just going to be put out before this stomp goes out, and then I'm going to rescue the priest, and then I'm going to get back, and then I'm going to just Spirit Bloom right here. So this, like, me like casting that Dream Breath there and stuff like that, like, wasn't that sick? That wasn't that amazing? I also lost my Call of Viscera buff because I waited a bit too long. But it's mostly just to set up my stasis. Like I said, I'm trying to get it on CD as quickly as possible to make sure that I get an extra. Like, basically, as soon as it comes up, you need to be looking at it and making sure that you're like getting it on CD within like 10 seconds to make sure that you're gonna have a last good stasis in the fight where it matters the most. So right here is my rewind. So that's why I don't detonate my stasis right there, is because that's my rewind. And then on this next breath that happens, that's when I'm going to detonate my stasis. And then from here on out, after these, we're doing the next Molten Spittle. So this isn't quite the first one where Molten Spittle starts getting dangerous, but it's the next one where it's going to start getting dangerous. So from here on out, they're kind of running really far. Like before, you saw them on either side of the boss. So for the most part, they're always getting hit by my healing, and everybody else is like group healing and chain heals and stuff like that. But once I start going off like on the other side of the platform, that's when they start becoming in danger. So that's when you really gotta start like maybe looking for like a TD and stuff like that on them if they're low. So there I just did Dream Breath into a Spirit Bloom. I'm going to use my Ouroboros stacks here, and then I'm just getting ready for the next damage event, just putting out Echoes. This one is always a little bit awkward. Oh, right here's the Stomp, actually. Okay, this is actually where I tip the scales, usually a Spirit Bloom. Oh, I missed my rescue on that ball. I was really shambled this bowl. Just the most shambled pull of all time. This Dream Breath, and honestly, all this fight is from here on out, it's just you using things on CD. Like, because, like, as you can see, there's just like a lot of damage going out, and it's just going to keep getting worse and worse. This is definitely like probably one of my worst pulls ever. Looking at it. Right here, as soon as I just now got stasis up, so I'm going to TA, Spirit Bloom, and I'm probably just going to send a naked Dream Breath inside of this. And then I'm going to make sure that whenever I detonate the stasis, that it is going to be buffed my Call of Viscera, which is what matters more. Use my Dream Flight. I was hoping that I could maybe get another one if I used it right there, but it didn't end up working out. Okay, so now I have my Emerald Communion up, and we have another knockback coming up. So right here is where I'm telling my priest, hey, for this next knockback, I'm going to Emerald Communion. Although it was kind of iffy. I usually would change my mind sometimes. Yeah, for this one, I do end up doing it, and since I did it early enough, it didn't knock me in the air. I learned my lesson. Someone's already soaking that, so I stepped out of it last second. Into Spirit Blooming. So right here, this is really spooky right here, with this guy having Molten Spittle. I definitely should have TD'd him. I go to do it, but he's out of range. By the time I move my mouse, he is out of range. That is so, so sad. But luckily he's a DK and he just lives somehow. This is where the fight starts getting really scary. It's right here. I'm just going to Spirit Bloom. Again, you're just sending everything on CD as much as possible. And that's all it really is. I'm going to TA into a Dream Breath here for the soak. Oh, this is the immune soak actually. So that's the hunter. He's going to go out there and he's going to gate and he's going to turtle with it. He's going to come back. So right now I have the tips of scales coming up for the knockback. I also have stasis to set up, and I'm going to be rewinding this next knockback that is coming up soon. But before this, we have like quite a few CDs that are lined up for that one. I think we had like the Salve come up. We had Ascendance and stuff being used. So we're pretty healthy right now. I actually have like a lot of CDs coming up at the end. It's like actually kind of like that middle like 3 to like 4 minute area is actually one of the scariest parts of the fight. So right there I rewound, I tipped the scales of Spirit Bloom, and I also put a Dream Breath in there that you can't see it because my stasis record is pretty bad. This guy's just going to go self-sacrifice here. These guys are just going to run out as far as they can because this guy is really close to full energy and he's about to enrage. He's actually casting it right now. He's enraging. So this is where I detonate my stasis. And we're pretty much all dead at this catastrophic eruption. I'm going to press Zephyr. It's not going to do anything. We're all just dead. But luckily, enough people live to kill the boss. And yeah, that's basically it. It is just a fun, very fast pace. Press all of your CDs on CD as much as possible wherever you can fight. But yeah, I hope you learned something, and thank you so much for watching.